There's been a misconstrued opinion that for you to be suffering mental illness, you have to look unkempt or walking naked in the streets. That is not so. Mental health is here with us, and it knows no race, tribe, or demographic. This morning, we're looking at mental well-being. Now, joining me in studio is a clinical psychologist, that is Madam Sheila Mwavua with the Nairobi Metropolitan. Good morning.
Morning.
What is the current status of mental well-being, especially here in Nairobi?
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. As you said, I'm Sheila Mwavua. I work with Nairobi Metropolitan Services. And currently, if we just start with a general overview of what WHO reported in a report in October 2019. In that report, it stated that 1 in every 4 people will suffer from a mental health illness. And worldwide, we're looking at a projection of around 450 million suffering from mental health related disorder. And I think when we look, or when you come back to our country, a few months ago, there was also a survey that was done, and we are currently looking at close to 2 million people.
Yes, 1.9 actually as
Yes.
per the WHO.
Yes.
That's quite a huge number looking at the current population census. Maybe you can just tackle the issue. There is the use of the term mental health and mental well-being.
Yes.
Maybe you can start from there. Is there much difference?
Okay, mental health and mental well-being, most of the time they are interrelated, because when you talk about your mental health, it's just like when someone says my physical health. So for you to be physically healthy, then it means that mentally you also need to be healthy. So when we talk about health, what are we looking at? We are looking at you having a sound mind so that you're able to make sound decisions and you're able to function normally, just the same way people would expect you to function in the society. And when you look at it from a normal viewpoint, then anyone that you're interacting with would look at it and say, yeah, this is someone who is okay. So when we talk about mental health in the second perspective, we are also looking at you. If you're not able to function normally, what could be causing that? So if we are able to pick out that probably you are stressed or there is something that is affecting your ability to make sound decisions or to participate in the day-to-day activities of living, then we start assessing that, and we say that there is something that is not really well. So in general, just being mentally healthy is being able to be sound in mind, body, and spirit.
Very well said. You've talked about different causes of mental health problems. Maybe you can highlight the common causes.
Okay, most of the time, as you correctly put, when people hear mental health, what comes into mind is that someone who is sick, probably naked, running around in the streets or picking trash there and there. But then what we are saying, you can be mentally unwell, not because you are showing those obvious symptoms, but because your judgment is impaired, or there is something that is making you not make proper judgment. So some of the main or the common issues that people would experience would be stress, the normal stresses of life. Ideally, we are usually told that we all experience stress at any point, and we have what we call eustress. Eustress is that stress that makes you go out and do stuff, make you out and do things, you're able to achieve your targets, and after you've done that, you feel really nice because it is something that is pushing you to go out and achieve. But then when that stress continues for a very long time, then it becomes distress. So when it becomes distress, then you'll find people will start exhibiting symptoms of fatigue. Sometimes people will have headaches. Sometimes people are unable to sleep properly. Sometimes people are unable to think through their thought processes well. And when that one happens, then that is the time when we say there is something that is going on. So probably you need to take a break and just evaluate yourself. Why are you not able to sleep? Why are you not able to communicate properly? Why are you not able to go out and socialize the same way you've been socializing with people? Why is it that you are withdrawing from the social activities that you would at a normal day do? So those are some of the things that we look at. Then you're able to say something is not right. So if something is not right, then it is time to take action and do a corrective action to improve that.
You've talked about different types of stress and it's when it's a problem when it becomes distress.
Yes.
Now, with the current situation around COVID-19, we've had government putting in place measures, including curfew and the stay-at-home directive.
Yes.
This has ensured that spouses, children, we are in the same basket, or rather in the same area every day for the last 2 months plus. Now, has this prevalence and these measures of COVID-19 in any way exacerbated the issue of mental health?
Yes. To tell you the truth, based on the statistics that are there, they have really had a direct impact on people's lives. Remember, with the curfew, most of the people are not able to go out and do what they are used to doing. So all of a sudden, because of COVID, you are forced to stay within a certain confinement. So your movements are limited. You can't go out and make money, especially if you are one person who has to go out on a daily basis and make money. Even those ones who are working, you find yourself now having to learn to work from home. So that is having a toll on people's mental well-being and functioning. And if I can give an example of Nairobi currently, we are seeing a high number of cases of intimate partner violence. And other than intimate partner violence between spouses and partners, we're also seeing gender-based violence rising. So currently, as we are speaking, as per to yesterday, Nairobi was leading in terms of gender-based violence. So based on the statistics that are there, you find most of the people who are affected are women. So for women, we are at around 78%. And then for girls, by yesterday evening, there were around 23 cases reported of violence that is being meted upon young girls. And then for the boys, we had around 19. So when you look at statistics generally, 27% of the women in Nairobi currently are facing some form of gender violence. And then when it comes to men, we are talking of around 8%. And then, of course, for the children, we are talking of 7.5%. Why is this so? COVID has just triggered what has been there for a very long time, because you find we stay in relationships, and most of the time going out works as a breather, to so speak. So when you are away from your partner, you are able to deal with your stresses and
issues of escapism.
Exactly.
Work,
yes,
socializing out there with your boys or your girls has
yes,
given you an opening, or rather an opportunity for you to breathe.
Yes.
Now that is no longer there.
It's no longer there. So you wake up in the morning and you have to stay with this partner of yours from morning to evening every day for the next 21 days, and then the next 21 days. Then you start discovering things about your partner that probably you didn't know. So this partner has got nowhere to vent out whatever frustration they are feeling. So small things will just trigger fights and all that. So we are seeing many people feeling frustrated because you can no longer earn, you can no longer meet your boys or girls, you can no longer meet your friends to just talk about it. So there is really nowhere to vent out your anger. So the only next person that you can vent out your anger is your spouse. And then the other thing that is clearly coming out, most of the partners have not been communicating. We've been talking at each other. So because communication breakdown has been there for a very long time, now it becomes even more challenging to start a conversation when you've not been communicating for a very long time. Then look at the children at home. So you have to think of homeschooling, the bills are running, you are unable to provide the necessary meals. We are told about social distancing. Probably you are living in a space where you can't even be able to do social distancing. So all those things are contributing to heightened levels of stress.
Now, because you're finding ourselves in this situation,
Yes,
and it's not going to abate anytime soon, given
yes,
the current statistics. So what options do we have? Because indeed, those are grim statistics, especially within the family setup, we can say, where there's a man and a woman and even a child who end up carrying the weight. So what do we do? Actually, maybe before we even look at what we do, what are the telltale signs? Do they have to always be physical, or is there a way you can tell the telltale signs that are psychological or rather emotional ones?
Thank you for the question. So there are many telltale signs that people are experiencing. Some people will experience all of them, others will experience a few of them. So physically, it will manifest by people probably getting into fights. It could be physical fights or verbal fights. Emotionally, you find people get withdrawn. Socially, you find people want to be alone. So they are no longer interested in talking to each other. They are no longer interested in participating in social activities. Other times you find people lock themselves up because they don't want to communicate with any other person. And then at times you might find that many people will come and report they are unable to sleep. And if they are unable to sleep, then it means that they are not able to function properly. Others will come with symptoms of headache. Others will be very irritable. Small things that ideally will not irritate you, all of a sudden they are irritating. Maybe a remark or a word someone said, or you placed a remote where it was not supposed to be.
Or I can't find my belt and I left it here.
Yes, so those small things will just trigger these reactions within a person, and you're able to tell. If you know each other very well, then you're able to tell there is something that is not really right. Other people would refuse to eat because they don't feel the need of eating. Other people would go into depression.
So then how do we deal with this?
So there are many channels. So for example, for Nairobi County, we are cognizant of the fact that many of our health workers, for instance, are going through a lot of challenges, given that they are the frontline workers, and at the same time, they are also family members or family people. They have got children, spouses, their daughters. So what we've done, we have a call center number, which is a helpline for frontline workers. So our number is 020-790-3939. So the number is open, so anyone can call at any time.
Do you mind repeating that number, please?
020-790-3939. So our number is open. We have got trained psychologists online. We're able to offer e-sessions. And the reason why we're doing e-session is because of the current situation we're in, so we're not able to do one-on-one sessions. But online, you're able to call. And when you call, the number is toll-free.
Oh, thank God. I was about to ask if it's a premium or it's a toll-free number.
Yeah, it is a toll-free number. So anytime you can reach a counselor and you'll be able to get what we call psychological first aid. For those ones probably who have got other issues that the counselor will be able to assess and feel that this person needs further referral and linkage, we are able to link you to appropriate places through our online medium, and you get the assistance that you need.
Do you just deal with frontline workers, or is it open for a person or a person who has issues and they need to talk?
It is open for everyone. Yeah. So our initial objective was to offer psychological first aid to the frontline health workers and their families. But as we go on, we have even opened it up to the quarantine centers that we are currently managing, and we've opened it out to the public. So whoever is out there and feels they need to talk to someone, they can always find us there. And then when it comes to GBV, we have got, for the county, we have got 1195. So 1195 is a toll-free number where you can call. For SMSs, we can actually send your SMSs on 0722 116 116. So that is a child helpline. And then we have got 21094, which is a GBV reporting line for the county. And then we also have got an MSF number, 0711 400 506. So those are numbers that are open to the public, and we encourage the public to report in case you are in a situation that you feel, I need to be helped, then you will get the help. Then other than that, we're encouraging people to maintain the social connections. As much as we're saying we need to keep the social distance, we are not saying cut off your social connections. So social connections, we're talking about staying in touch through our social media platforms. You can call your friends, you can WhatsApp them, you can chat to them. Just keep in touch and know what is happening around. And when you do that, it becomes much easier. And then other than that, we are also encouraging those ones who probably could be having pre-existing mental health related issues. When you feel that you need to be assisted, as I've mentioned, those numbers are available.
Seek help.
Yes, seek help.
There have been critics who've come out and said that they really don't see how talking will help.
Yes.
From a clinical psychologist point of view, the benefits of talking out your issues, how does it work? How does it work to, lower your stress levels?
Okay, what we normally say, talking is therapeutic. So we have what we call talk therapy. Sometimes you really, when you're talking, you don't need to sit there and talk back when I'm talking at you. You're giving me an opportunity where I can express whatever it is that I'm feeling, because when you express, when you talk it out, it makes it a bit easier and it helps you vent out whatever it is. So in a psychotherapy session, I'll just sit here and listen to you, because most of the time we just want to be listened to. Sometimes probably I don't need you to tell me what to do. All I need is to just sit with someone who can listen to me. Because when you look at our day-to-day life, as I mentioned earlier, we talk at each other. We rarely communicate. Because in communication, listening is very critical. I need to listen to you, help you pick out what are the issues. And then once we've picked out what issues you are going through, then we are able to sit down, look at them and ask ourselves, how do we help each other? So most of the time, what people want is just to have a space where they can say whatever they want to say without being judged, without being made to feel that they are less of human beings. And when that one happens, you've seen situations where people say, thank you for listening, because that is all that I needed.
Listening is something that we do not really find.
Yes.
Now, how do you tell that the time is right for you to seek professional help?
Yeah, so that is a question that many people have asked, and I can tell you, under under these particular circumstances, sometimes it's hard for people to know that I'm having these problems. But what we normally say, when you know who you are, you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, you are able to tell where I am going or where I am headed. I don't think I'm on the right direction. So when you're able to know what you can be able to hold in and what you can't, that is the time for you now to say it is time for me to talk to someone. So I think for us as a country, we've had this situation where we've been socialized to believe that, the way like men will be told, men don't cry, men don't talk about such things, you have to act and you have to behave like a man. So most of the time you find because of that socialization, people are afraid to open up and say, I am not feeling okay. But then we are saying it is always good to acknowledge when you're not okay, just say I'm not okay, because we say it is okay not to be okay. So when you get to that point when you feel I can't go on, I just need to say something, I need to tell someone something, don't keep it inside.
The issue of stigma.
Yes.
The issue of stigma around mental well-being, because no one wants to be termed as the crazy woman.
Yes.
Or the crazy man.
Yes.
How is this hampered, efforts towards mental well-being?
Yes, stigma is a main issue. And even as we're talking now, because of COVID, we are seeing a lot of stigma that is associated with COVID. So because of that stigma, and stigma, it could be stigma or community or social or verbal. So you find many people are afraid to speak out and say, I am not well mentally, because of the fear that I'll be labeled. And no one wants to be labeled, because once you've been labeled as a crazy woman or a crazy man, then you find that one affects you much more than even having the stress that you probably could be having. So as a country, I think we have a long way to go just trying to educate the masses that when you're not mentally okay, it is okay. It is normal for you not to feel okay. And when that one happens, you don't have to beat yourself up so hard and say, if I speak about it, people are going to laugh or people are going to talk about me. So mental health is not just about being seen, walking on the street. So that is an image that we need to change. We need to make people realize that you don't have to be to that level where people look at you and they say, that is a village mad woman, or that is a village madman.
You can be a professional crazy woman.
Yes, you can be. So what we are saying, we need to educate people about mental health. We need people to start talking about the issues that they are facing. Like even now, we're encouraging people to talk. There are many things that people are going through, and it is okay to feel that way. So when you talk, you realize it's not just you going through the same issues. There are also other people who are going through that, and therefore, through talking, you're able to get solutions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe the other issue we've established that millions of Kenyans are suffering and they are unable to get the help that they need.
Yes.
Is it because there's that issue that maybe you're not willing to speak, but do we have the capacity to address these issues? Do we have people in that profession who can offer these services?
Yeah, so based on your question, there are two folds to it. Yes, people are afraid to talk because they are not aware of where to seek this particular service. And that is something that the ministry and even counties are trying to work around to change that narrative. We have our healthcare facilities that are offering services for free. Because I know for Nairobi, when you ask somewhere, or someone, where do you think you can get mental health services? Yeah, Mathare is the only place they'll talk to you about. Other than Mathare, probably they'll mention Chiromolin. But then you find, because of the stigma that mental health has gotten all these years, even Mathare as an institution, you find there is a stigma that is associated with the place. But what you are saying, that has to change, and it is changing. You can walk into any health facility, because right now we are having many of our healthcare workers trained on mental health. We're able to screen, because for you to know if you have a mental health condition, it starts with screening. So if you walk into any health facility and say, I need to be screened for mental health related issues, the clinicians, the nurses there, the doctors there will be able to screen you. And then based on what the screening report says, then they're able to advise you accordingly. If you just need to be supported through counseling, then they'll refer you to a counselor. If you need specialized services, then they refer you to specialized trainers or specialists who will be able to take care of you. So in terms of capacity, we are building capacity. We are not yet there, but I believe the path that we've taken as a county, as a government, we will get there in a few years' time.
Now, you say you do clinical first aid.
Yes.
Maybe you can just expound on the steps that one can take to control stress and also build resilience, because I tend to believe that if your mind is in the right place, then there's nothing you can't achieve.
Yes. Yeah. So for clinical first aid, what we normally call psychological first aid, what we normally ask people to do, or what we would recommend people to do, is for you to look at yourself. As I said, it's important to understand what are your weak areas, what are your strong areas, and then we talk about this concept of self-care, because mental health and well-being starts with you. So if you are physically okay, or if you are physically healthy, that one gives you raised self-esteem, and that is why you find most of the people will tell you, I have got this exercising regime that I do every other morning or every other day, or probably 3 or 4 times in a week. And then watch what you are eating, because when you are eating foods that you know are going to physically help you in just maintaining your physical well-being, then that one also goes in a long way in boosting your self-esteem. And then emotionally, we say avoid situations that make you get emotionally, disturbed. So if you know that if I engage in this particular thing, or if I think within these particular angles, then I'm going to get angry, or I'm going to get agitated, then you're able to say, I don't want to continue with this particular discussion, or I think I need a break from all these discussions. So when you maintain, or when you control your emotions, if you're able to control your emotions, you're able to stay psychologically sound, because when you are getting stressed, you would know that based on how I'm feeling, I can't think straight. Therefore, it is time for me to just take a break and step back. So taking a break and stepping back, it gives you this ability, or this opportunity to just reevaluate yourself and reflect. Probably you are in the office working, or you're even at home, and you're feeling that there are just too many deadlines that I have to meet. But at this particular time, I'm bound to make mistakes. So what do? Probably I need just an hour off to go take a nature walk, if you're a nature lover, or listen to music, or just chat a friend, or have a cup of tea, or just stretch around. So what we are saying, when you take care of yourself, is just looking at the things that make you feel nice about who you are. And these things, you look at them in terms of physical health, in terms of your eating habits, in terms of your sleep patterns, because if you're not also getting enough sleep, then it is bound to catch up with you later in the week. And then social connections. Do I have friends? Most of the people will tell you, I've got so many friends, but how many times in a day?
Those friends check in.
Exactly. So you need to maintain a social connection of friends that you know. If I call Regina, for instance, Regina will listen to me. She's one person I can tell anything. She will listen, and then she will give me time to just reflect and think. And then we're also saying spiritually, for those ones who are spiritual, there are people who tell you, I have to pray in the morning, I have to do a bit of meditation, or probably I believe in doing yoga or something like that. So what we are saying, think of things that put you in check. And these things will be different based on the different types of personalities that we have.
Then how do we, actually the issue of communication, how do we improve interpersonal communication?
So for communication, what we are saying as partners, we need to go back, because when you look at the situation we are in, there is also a silver lining. We've been too busy, we've been far away from each other, and we've been using a lot of escapism, as you said. But here is a situation where you have got so much time with your partner, your children, and those people that are close to you. So this is the time to learn how to listen to each other, how people think around you, how people have changed, how people have grown. And then as you're doing that, you're able to reflect as partners. What is it that probably we've not been doing right? What is it that probably we need to improve on? So you make new goals as partners. Because if we've not been communicating with each other, what probably could be the issue? Because many of the people will tell you, I leave very early, I come back very late. So by the time I come home, I've got no time to talk to my people. But here is an opportunity to talk to your children, to talk to your spouses, get to know who are they really.
Now on that issue, we've seen that in the last 2-3 months, the statistics indicate that families have separated during this time.
Yes.
We have people quitting their relationships during this time. Is it because they were in bad relationships? I'm trying to use that word, bad relationships.
Yes.
And this time because they've spent time together, as you've said, time that wasn't there previously to get to know this other person, this is how they are. Then now they're trying to change. I mean, what do you think from your end?
From my own opinion, there are many factors that would have caused that. So that one takes us back to the drawing board. So the first question would be, ask yourself, why am I with this person? What was the reason that made me get attracted to this particular person? So as much as we are seeing increased levels of violence, we are also seeing families or relationships that are growing deeper and deeper because people are able to understand each other. So if you're able to answer the question, why am I with this particular person, then you'll be able to work out a lot of things. So you'll find some people will tell you, I got into this relationship because of love. So if you're fighting, you're quarreling, where has the love gone to?
Is it dead? Is it dead?
Yes.
Does it die in the first place?
Sometimes it does. So if it is not there, where did it go to? So probably that will be the starting point. So can we look for this love? Are we still interested in staying together? If you're interested in staying together because you love each other, definitely you'll find a point where you can start the communication again.
No, still on that line.
Yes.
Those people who evaluate themselves and they find their common factor is the children. Would it be wise, we've talked about useful stress and distress, would it be wise to still continue with a relationship when the uniting factor is your children? That the only thing that you're staying is, that the only common ground that you have is your children. Would it be wise?
So for that one, I wouldn't really want to say if it is wise or not wise, but I would advise that it is important to look back beyond the children. What are the other issues? And then if you're able to extensively exhaust the issues around that, then together you can always find a solution. So some people will tell you it is children, but then when they start talking, you find it's actually not children. Probably there are other personal issues that people have. So such couples would advise them probably to seek further help so that they are able to see a therapist who will be able to help them explore further. And if after therapy, if they feel that they can't be together because of some other reasons, then they are able to make independent but decisions that are decisive based on the facts that they have been able to gather. Because many times people will tell you it's just children, but then when you start talking, you find it is not actually the children, and they are able to resolve the issues that they have been having, either because of misunderstandings or assumptions, because sometimes we work with a lot of assumptions. Yeah, so when that one is corrected, then you find people are able to give it a second chance. So we would advise them not to be too quick to make a decision and say it is just because of the children that I'm staying. Look beyond, because remember, before these children came, it was you and that particular partner of yours. So what is it that put you together? So it takes us back to the previous
the
question.
reason why.
Yes, find the reason why.
Now, in
Yes.
parting, as talking
Yes.
about mental well-being and the current prevailing issues, there's era of COVID-19, so many uncertainties. Parting short to someone who's watching this morning, and maybe they need a form of encouragement. They don't know if they're suffering from a mental health issue.
Yes.
Parting short from an expert point of view.
Yeah, so for me, I would encourage them and say it is okay not to be okay, because it is normal to feel that way. And mental health is part of who we are. And therefore, for us to say that we are physically okay or physically sound, then mentally we have to be sound, physically we have to be sound, socially we have to be sound. So we need to find a balance. And this balance is something that we need to work on. Because if you don't have a balance, then probably you will find you are tilted towards one side. So we would encourage you to seek out a qualified person to just help take you through. And as I said, we are doing a lot of screening, and these screenings are done free of charge in our public health facilities. So if you visit any facility and say, I just need to be screened, I need to know if I'm having a mental health issues, you'll be helped. Other than that, as I said, the call centers are available, because most people will say, with this COVID, how do I get to a health facility? So we are saying, if you call our number, like what I had shared earlier, 020-790-3939, and you talk to a psychologist, they'll be able to help you go through whatever you are experiencing, and they'll be able to tell you if you need further assessment or if you just need psychological support. So it is always important to just go out there and talk to a trained person and find out, could I be having an issue? And then other than that, we have got mobile apps that we are currently using, where someone can log on to it, and then there are screening tools that you can administer by yourself. Then once you answer those particular questions, you get a scoring. And then based on that scoring, you are able to be connected to a therapist or a counselor who will help you explore further if you need assistance.
These lines that you've given here on
Yes.
air, can we find these details also on your website? Maybe you can share your website too.
So for our website, currently we are still trying to upload. So probably we can share with you once we've done that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very well said. Thank you, Madam Sheila Mwavua there, from a clinical psychologist with the Nairobi Metropolitan, just assuring the issues and the need to maintain mental well-being. If your mind is in the right place, indeed you will be on the right path. Thank you for your time.
Thank you too.
Now, Ram, I don't know what you have to say about mental well-being. What's your take about that, especially representing the demographic that happens to fall under the cadre of the youth? What's your take?
Well, I think it's important to have that good or that proper state of mental health. But before you let her go, you've asked about the youth, and in this age and time, you have social media, and maybe I can get from her when it comes to social media, long distance relationship. How can you maintain a healthy long distance relationship, and make it sustainable? Because at the end of the day, everyone has expectations from each other, and everyone still needs to maintain that proper or that good mental health as they go through that relationship that is long distance through social media.
Maybe you can actually answer Ram's question there. The issue of social interaction, especially during this time, we can't move as we should. We're not hugging as we should. We're not holding hands anymore.
Yeah.
And we're calling that it's a long distance relationship, but yet you're in the same within spaces just because of COVID-19. Then how do we go about it?
Yeah, so that is a very interesting question, but very valid, and I think those are some of the questions most people have asked. So with social media, you realize of late everyone is doing everything through social media. So for relationships, what we are saying, as two people who are in relationships, you've got to agree. Remember we talked about communication?
True.
Yeah, so you need to agree now that we can't physically be present for each other. So using social media, how do we ensure that our relationship keeps on growing? So what we are saying, there are many opportunities on social media. you can agree that other than just talking on phone, we can do WhatsApp calls, or we can do video
do Zoom?
calls. We
Can we
can
do
do
Zoom?
even Zoom. Yeah.
But it feels so superfluous. It has changed how social interactions work.
Yes.
With technology, it sounds so plastic.
Yes, it does, but then you find with Zoom, at least I'm able to see you. So if I'm able to see you, other than what you are saying, I can pick the things that you're not saying. And when both of you agree that we are in this for a short period of time because of this COVID, but we are looking forward to a really long-lasting kind of relationship, then you're able to go through it. And then, as I said, you also have to, to agree in principle, if it is communication. How often do we need to communicate? Then be as open as possible, because assumptions sometimes create or kill relationships. So if you're not able to find me on call, or you're not able to find me on WhatsApp, then I should be able to tell you I'm available at this particular time, so you can set a routine. That if it is communicating, let's communicate either early in the morning or during the day or later in the evening. So you make sure that whatever happens at that particular time that you said you need to communicate, then you're able to communicate.
Some feedback coming up from our gallery, from our director. He says that currently the use of technology, especially Zoom and WhatsApp, has somewhat turned disappointing, because what you had imagined, the person you were pursuing, when they come up on that screen, they do not meet your physical expectations. You're expecting a light-skinned lady. The person who comes up on Zoom is not what you the issue of expectations. Maybe that's something we need to look into.
Yeah, so when it comes to expectations, we say be as realistic as possible, because most of the relationships, even before COVID, have been broken because of very high expectations. So with social media, you find there's a lot of filtering and all that, so someone can create whatever they want you to see. So what we are saying is that when you put your expectation within levels that you can manage, then at the end of the day, if that person...
You set your parameters
them.
and openness. Now, how about we just sample some of your feedback that we've been getting on our various social media platforms? This morning is Health Tuesday. We've been looking at a myriad of issues, and this last topic is about mental well-being.
You're saying someone is asking, mental health needs to be looked after in the same way as our physical health. The next tweet. I'm saying this is I am mine and Sema. When we strengthen our child's mental health, confidence on resilience will follow. All right, next tweet. We have Linda. Pain is pain. You may not be able to see it, but that doesn't mean you're not feeling it. Be kind always. Interesting tweet there at Linda. Do you have another? They're coming in. All on the board, saying it isn't selfish to care about yourself. It is essential. Let's just sample one more tweet, because there are so many we cannot be able to read all of them. I'm saying if ever there was a time to invest in mental health, that time is now. Regina.
Indeed, very well. It is the time to invest in mental well-being. My guest this morning has been Sheila Mwavua, a clinical psychologist with the Nairobi Metropolitan, just saying that you need to keep your mind at the best level of well-being, because if it is not, then you're going to lose it. And it doesn't mean that our expectations about who a person who's suffering from mental health care does not necessarily, has always been the person is unkempt or walking naked in the streets, or picking trash. It's not. You can be a professional person who's suffering from mental health.